Hi, friends. In this dispatch, I want to talk to you briefly about what I would call the mood of the moment. What's going on in late summer, towards the end of August, as we're anticipating the fall. And one of the things that struck me last week in multiple conversations with a whole variety of leaders across North America and beyond was that in these various conversations, leaders are tired. It's as if they have no bandwidth and are just feeling overwhelmed with everything that's going on. And I found myself asking the question, what's this all about? And of course, when I ask that question, people say to me, it's COVID, stupid. It's the lockdown, stupid. But there's something in the back of my brain went, but is it? Is that really what's going on that is creating this lack of bandwidth and this tiredness? And I came into the weekend with those questions. And so yesterday morning, Sunday morning, which is Sabbath day, time to lay all these things down, I got up early. And as is usual, I went to the door, picked up my copy of the Sunday New York Times to sit down with a coffee and just enjoy. Well, with that question lurking in the background, my enjoyment was short-lived. It wasn't just all the news coming out of Afghanistan and other places, but it was what was present throughout the paper. So for example, in the review section, there was a letter from a group of young kids, Greta Thunberg and others from around the world. And the title of the letter was simply, Adults are failing us in climate change. And this letter went on and it began to describe the meeting of the United Nations on climate change in Glasgow later on this year, and saying we as young adults are simply not going to let you as adults off the hook. We're going to make you do something about this climate change. And then I went to the book review section, one of my favorite parts, and there, right on the front page, were two books on the deep oceans. Very, very down, very, very deep that are being discovered. But again, this sense of a book about the deep that ends with the statement, the looming threat. And there it was again, this sense of darkness. And the word that came to me was a Christian word, is that people feel like they're living in what I would call an apocalyptic. And a little later on in the book review is another book, which I picked up afterwards, called Believers. And the subtitle is Making Life at the End of the World. Apocalyptic. It's as if everything that we're observing and feeling, from COVID to Afghanistan, to the deep, to climate change, to everything else, it's like everything is going to hell in a handbasket. And I then picked up one of my favorite online newspapers called Unheard, in which there was a Sunday essay. And the Sunday essay basically said this: if you're living in the West, you're living in the ruins. And I think that's part of why people, particularly leaders of churches, are feeling exhausted and tired. It's not just managing, dealing with different stresses. It's this feeling that it's dark and it's hard. And it's as if congregations are in trouble. The world is in trouble. There's no hope. It's apocalyptic. And in that place, something else occurred to me. This is an utter failure of Christian imagination. Because you see, apocalyptic is the message of hope. Apocalyptic is that in the midst of a world that has always been going to hell in a handbasket, God in Christ is at work reweaving the world. And the way out of our feeling exhausted and tired and having no bandwidth is not looking at how do we manage decline and loss and all of this, but it's about seeing in a different way that God is at work ahead of us, making all things new and asking, how do we join? That's the sense of being and leading that I find utterly absent these days, a complete miss of what God is doing. So, in these closing days of summer, when we are looking at the mood of the moment, this is an invitation for us as leaders to see with the eyes of Christian imagination, which is to see that God is at work ahead of us. So God be with you in these closing weeks, and may God strengthen you and guide you in Christ as we begin to anticipate the fall. Thank you.